Please, marry me. The entire hotel lobby froze. Evelyn Chase, billionaire, business tycoon, and tabloid queen, was on her knees in front of a man wearing a torn coat and boots held together by tape. The man's name was Marcus Hill. His eyes widened, his voice calm but rough. Lady, are you sure you're talking to me? Everyone watched in disbelief. Guests whispered. Cameras clicked. A mother pulled her child closer, as if humility were contagious. But Evelyn didn't care. Her eyes were swollen from crying. You saved my son's life, she said softly. I don't care what anyone thinks. You deserve everything I have. Marcus shook his head slowly. You don't even know who I am. Evelyn's lips trembled. I know what kind of man you are, and the truth behind that moment began 12 hours earlier. Rain poured down in New York that morning. Evelyn was running late for her charity gala, a glittering event to show off her latest Foundation for Homeless outreach. The irony, she'd never spoken to a homeless person in her life. Her 8-year-old son, Liam, sat in the back seat of their SUV, staring at his tablet. Evelyn barely noticed him. She was too busy scrolling through her emails, snapping at her driver, and adjusting her diamond earrings. Then, out of nowhere, screech, the car jolted to a stop. What the? She shouted, before anyone could react. A delivery truck lost control on the slick road and slammed into the SUV. The airbags exploded. Glass shattered. The sound of screaming tore through the rain. When Evelyn came to, her head was bleeding, and Liam's seat was empty. Liam, she screamed, crawling out onto the wet pavement. The boy had been thrown across the road, unconscious. Water from the storm drain was rising around him. Her driver was trapped, yelling for help. Then a shadow moved through the rain. A man, drenched, shivering, barefoot, ran into the street. His clothes were torn, his hands rough and bleeding. He lifted the SUV door, freeing the driver, then waded through the floodwater to reach Liam. He pressed his ear to the boy's chest. Nothing. Move, the man shouted. He began chest compressions, his face focused, desperate. Evelyn was sobbing, trembling beside him. Please save him. Seconds stretched into forever. Then a cough. Liam gasped, water pouring from his mouth. The man exhaled in relief. He's breathing. By the time the ambulance arrived, the stranger was gone. That night, Evelyn refused to attend the gala. She stayed by Liam's hospital bed, holding his hand. He was stable. But the doctor said something strange. Ma'am, the nurse said, a man brought your son in before the ambulance came. He left his jacket behind. On the chair lay a worn military jacket with a faded name tag. Hill. Evelyn felt something twist inside her. Guilt. The same kind of man she'd ignored 1,000 times had saved her only child. She made her driver take her back downtown, to the alleys beneath the bridge, where the city's forgotten lived. Hours passed before she saw him sitting by a barrel fire, jacketless, his hands still shaking from the cold. Evelyn stepped toward him, her heels splashing in puddles. You, she whispered. You're the man from the accident. Marcus looked up, startled. Your boy's okay. She nodded, tears forming. Thanks to you. Why didn't you stay? He shrugged. Didn't think I belonged in a place like that. Her eyes filled. You belonged more than anyone there. When Marcus tried to stand, he nearly collapsed. Evelyn saw his leg wound, old, stitched with care. Maybe you're hurt, she said. I've had worse, he muttered. Please, let me help, she pleaded. He hesitated. Help, she nodded. A shower, food, clean clothes. You saved my son. Let me do something. Marcus stared at her, skeptical. You really don't have to, please. Her voice cracked. You already did everything for me. He sighed, finally nodding. Hours later, at her penthouse, Evelyn handed him a warm meal and some old clothes of her late husband's. For the first time, she noticed the scars on his hands. Soldier's scars. Were you military? She asked gently. He looked down. Navy SEAL. Retired after an injury. Lost my family. Then my home. The rest just sort of happened. Evelyn's throat tightened. I'm sorry. He smiled faintly. Don't be. I made my peace a long time ago. Something inside her broke. She'd spent years surrounded by people with everything, yet none with hearts as pure as his. The next morning, news broke of the mystery man who saved the billionaire's son. Reporters swarmed her building. Evelyn tried to thank Marcus privately, but he refused any reward. I didn't save him for money, he said quietly. I just saw a boy who needed help. Then came the moment no one expected, the press conference. Evelyn walked up to the podium. Cameras flashed. The man who saved my son's life is here today, she announced, and I owe him more than I can ever repay. Marcus froze as she stepped toward him. Her voice trembled. You gave me my son back, so today, I'm giving you what I've never given anyone, my trust. She took a breath. Please, marry me. The crowd gasped. The cameras exploded with flashes. Marcus blinked, stunned. You don't even know me. Evelyn smiled through tears. I know enough. I know what real goodness looks like. Marcus didn't answer right away. He looked at her, the billionaire everyone feared, now standing barefoot in humility before a man the world ignored. Finally, he stepped closer. If I marry you, he said softly, I don't want your money. Evelyn frowned. Then what do you want? He smiled, warm, genuine. A second chance. Not for me. For others like me. Let's build something that helps them stand again. Tears filled her eyes. Then that's what we'll do. Months later, the headlines changed. From streets to strength, billionaire and former SEAL launch foundation for the homeless. At the ribbon-cutting ceremony, Liam ran to Marcus, hugging him tight. Dad, you came. Marcus froze, then smiled, holding him close. Evelyn watched with pride, not because she'd found a husband, but because she'd found hope. The story that began with shock ended with redemption. Because sometimes, love doesn't come from luxury. It comes from courage and kindness that asks for nothing in return. Moral, hate divides, but kindness heals, and no soul is ever too lost to be found again.